Thank you. Welcome to another Tuesday night of Show and Share, and let's make and let's show and share what we're making. Our failures, yeah, we have them, because if you're going to make, you're going to fail, but we learn from them. And our successes, which is after, at least for me, a few failures to get there. So let's start it off with Andy Carlisle and a Vexing Hexes.
What's the easiest way to oh man, this is never gonna work. Okay, so this right here, plus and minus, nice. This right here may look like a honeycomb, but this is the real life version of when the coyote is already like fully off the cliff and then he falls down. It looks so nice and pretty, doesn't it? Okay, so what this is I'm building a battery pack. And one way to keep all the cells together while you are you're spot welding all the terminals and making sure you don't electrocute yourself or set yourself on fire is you can just hot glue all the batteries together, which is what I'm like really prone to do. That's like the way that I would do it. But I'm gonna be using this for a vehicle, so like I want to be less orky and more dwarfish. So in that spirit, I'm printing off actual holders. So the tool I used to do this was a combination of, does this work? That works. That works kind of. All right, so a combination of OpenSCAD for parametrical computer, designing and developing, and a tool for VS Code and Canva called SCAD CLJ. So what I did wrong was these are immediately. Well, once I printed it out, I was like, oh, sweet, finally, it didn't fail. I'm the king of America. But then I went home and was like, none, let's make sure I did my tolerances correctly and I can actually fit the batteries in there. But I made the holes way too big because an 18650, the cell I'm using, I'm like, I completely, forgot to read or something. And it was like 65 millimeters long, 18 millimeters in circumference, right? Duh. And they're 18 centimeters in diameter. They're actually 18.2 centimeters in diameter. But like all my math got really funky. So all the holes were the wrong size. But luckily, so the value I had here was that it was something like 18 inches of diameter divided by pi, and then like divide that by 2 because I was like, that doesn't look right. And then this is gonna show something kind of probably horrific in just a second. No? Did they just make them a little bit bigger? A little hole? Okay. Well, what's nice though is the tools that I'm using are a REPL, which, that might be what I'm doing wrong. Haha, I need to connect to the REPL. It's such a cool tool once you do it. No, I was connected. Yeah, I was connected. So what I can do with this is I can with OpenSCAD, you can parametrically design stuff. But OpenSCAD's like native language is kind of counterintuitive. For example, objects aren't first class. So you can't use objects as arguments. Like, it's really important for, at least in my parametrical design, that this fit the battery that I eventually did measure. So I can't like eyeball it, and I want to be able to use that battery as an example, like when I'm making a difference. So for example, what I start with is, let's see if this works. That's not how you spell battery. Okay, so you may have noticed everything disappeared all at once because I recompiled this thing. And like, look, that does not look like a battery. That math was way off. But when you redo your math right and you turn this into its actual measurement, boop, excuse me, dingo bango, that looks more like a battery. So I had to also create my own function called regular polygon because I could like figure out some other thing. But also I'm not gonna lie, I asked ChatGPT, so this is part robot too. I'm a good delegator. I was just like, I've done the algorithm, like make a grid, make a list of lists to make a grid, and I'm like, okay, but do it for me. And then it did it, and it was fine. And it was nice and idiomatic because it takes references from Stack Overflow, like I would have done, but taken 3 hours to do. Not gonna lie. So, for example, I can make a hex cell, which, okay, so if I make, for example, okay, so I got regular polygon. I can say, give us a hexagon, regular polygon of 6 sides and a radius of 6, and then it'll render, nope, well, if I do it right. Nope, okay, you'll get an error in public. It's great. So the moral of the story is with parametrical design and instant feedback loop of your mistakes, much faster than the 13 hours it takes to print one of these off, you can, I feel really much more legit when it comes to like printing stuff off instead of just kind of like bit bashing all day long. And also, like, I might not light my crotch on fire. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yeah.
Why was the printer tilted?
Oh, the rendering view, just because.
No, your actual printer was tilted up about 10 degrees.
Yeah. Well, when I
Instead of being flat, it was, I mean, like this, it was tilted over like this. I know some other people saw that.
okay, what? Okay, so I'm like repairing one of the printers. Are you talking about KM Ender 1? That was like the public printer that was over there, like while this is printing out. While I was first started off on this first one, I like had to babysit the first couple of rows, and it had it has the CR Touch auto calibrator, but it was still digging into the back corner. Like it was really under extruding. It was making a sound and leaving a trail, and it was kind of, when I was there, it was like boom. So I had to sit there and babysit it with I remember I had to recalibrate that back corner too, but I think I actually had to lower it as well myself. I don't know if like maybe there's something wrong auto calibrating it, but it also appears as if like, I mean, these both kind of, wait, oop, you can kind of see. Yeah, that's kind of slanty. I mean, that wasn't like by design. It could be something that happened like in between my prints. I'm also like also a full noob when it comes to FDM printing. I'm much more familiar with like successful with resin printing. Like I'm still like trying to get my printer to print off a whole anything. So short answer, don't know. Let's learn together. Any other questions? Excellent, cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Andy. Next up, we've got Russell Portwood, and it's a lamp. How'd we know that?
Oh, it's barbecue. You already showed me. It's barbecue. I didn't hear you, Billy. It's a lamp.
Okay, that's better. Okay, I guess maybe 3 weeks ago, I made a comment about, it was when it was cold, and I made a comment about my old bald head, that I needed a hat, and Amy made me a hat. So I thought the nice thing to do would be to make Amy a lamp. So, Amy, the hint I gave you, forget about it, because when you said you needed a lamp for your bedside table, the other one wouldn't work because it was like this tall. You can look at it. You can choose. How's that? Okay, but I only brought this one. So, here is the lamp made from a candlestick. This used to be a candlestick. I put some little feet on it, put this in, put this part on so that it would have a place for the socket. And this is probably one of the more simple designs that I've made, but it, if you turn the switch on, hopefully it lights up instead of starting a fire. Ta-da, little lamp. Now, here's the thing I like about this particular one. This top shade goes right over the bulb. And this kind of bulb, you can use it naked if you want to because it's an Edison style bulb. And it's a small bulb, but you can take the bulb out and you can take this little fellow out right here. It's in pretty tight. I don't want to. But anyway, here we go. This little fellow will come out so that you can use a full-size bulb. So for a bedside table, if you want a lot of light or a little light, you can use either one. So fairly simple design, but as Billy says, it's a lamp. So there you have it. Probably one of my more simple designs. I hope you like it, Amy. Okay, good. And I'll let you look at the other one as well. All right. Okay, that's it, folks. It's a lamp. This one actually I think probably 2 to 3 hours, something like that. Not a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of fret time in this one like I do on most of them. Yeah, not too bad. Not bad. Any more? All right, thanks.
Thank you, Russell. I just love the way you come up with all these different lighting techniques. I think you're still working on the laser bulb, though, right? Yeah. Yes. Next up, not a lamp, it's a patch. Brian.
Hello, everybody. Let's see here. Is that in focus for you all? A little bigger. Oh, there we go. Nice. All righty. Well, I made a patch, and I really like to recycle old silk ties. It's one of my favorite fabrics if it's something small. So that was a very nice little floral print. Popped it in the old holder there and proceeded to make a nice patch, right? No big deal. This, however, was technically a failure. That one there is actually the successful one. What I didn't realize was that silk is pretty stretchy, and of course when you put things in the hoop, you're stretching because you're trying to keep tension in there. And when I took it out, it just kind of wrinkled. And there was no way to straighten that out taut enough to put it onto a piece of Velcro, because this was going on some Velcro. So at that point, I'm like, great. Well, I got enough material, I'm doing it again. But I didn't have quite as big a piece. It gets progressively narrower on a tie. But I just needed a piece big enough for the patch. So what I wound up doing is we have a backing that is adhesive, but it's only so big. But I put it out nice and flat on that adhesive part, but that still only kind of partially really fit in the hoop decent for me. So I still wound up with a bigger piece of backing, a tearaway. And between the two sandwiched in there, it held everything pretty square. And I was able to make the patch nicely. And then at that point, went ahead and used the same material to go ahead and sew it. I used the same red to sew around it and sewed it to the Velcro and made a nice little Velcro patch with that cool silk background. Goes on my Dungeons and Dragons bag that I drag in here that's pretty much OD green and looks pretty militaristic, so I figured it needed a splash of color. So that, and I got one little quickie, just so everybody thinks that I don't just do nothing but sew around here. I got this Altoids tin I've been kicking around for a while. I bought it just because it was cool. But I 3D printed this neat little insert for it. And there is a bunch of these inserts kicking around on Thingiverse for all kinds of different stuff. I thought this one looked pretty conducive for a decent little fly box or a little tiny fishing box in my, because I try to keep pretty minimalistic when I do my Tenkara stuff. So I printed that out, fit in there very nice, just straight off of the Thingiverse. So anybody wants to get their feet wet with the 3D printing, that's a good way to do it. You know, it's just find some little organizing thing you want to make in a Altoids box and give it a go. Yes.
The patch, did you sew just straight to the silk? There was no kind of backing?
No, there's backing, but it's right on. The silk is my base material instead of like using a piece of nylon or cotton or something like that. I use the silk. Well, on the first one, on the finished product one was just the adhesive backing, plus also I used the tearaway backing. So it wound up with being kind of double backed, but that's okay. It came out perfect, so I was pretty happy with it. Yeah, Rob?
I was gonna say, if you do it next time as an applique instead of on the material, you don't get the pulling effect.
I read some of that, and I'm like, I'm not going to tackle that today. And however, I must admit, too, that in order not to make the same mistake twice, I didn't take it off the hoop the second time. I took the hoop and all over to the sewing machine and sewed the Velcro on. And then I knew I was good to go, and then I could cut it off of there, and it wouldn't matter because it's got nowhere to shrink. So, yeah. Applique would be the way to go. I just haven't 100% mastered that yet, but I looked it up a little bit, and I'm like, I'm not doing that today, but I will eventually, because that is a good way of doing that, exactly. It'll give you, and if you did something like that on the, like the adhesive kind, then when you go to do your stitch around the outside, it looks more like a finished patch. You don't have to cut it away or anything. All right, anything else? All right, thank you.
That was great. Stabilizer, backing stabilizer, and I like the little Altoid 10 organizer. That's great. Anybody else want to show? All right, come forward.
Hey, I'm James.
Hi, James.
Is anybody familiar with Rosie the Builder, the old poster? Yeah. So years ago, you may have seen this group calling themselves We the Builders came out with a project called We the Rosies. And what they did is they made a 3D sculpture, huge 3D sculpture of Rosie the Builder, and broke it off into little cubes. And anybody could go online, grab a cube as a 3D printer file, print it, ship it to them, and they assembled them all and took it around to museums and everything. That's kind of what it ended up looking like. There's cool videos and pictures you can see of the whole thing, does it more justice. They've done a few of them over time, and they've come out with a new one recently. There's a total of 600 cubes to print, and about 150 have been taken. So there's about 450, something like that, left to take. Anybody can download it, print it, and ship it to them. And they're asking for translucent or clear 3D printing, and I'm printing one right now if you want to see after show and share. About 20 minutes it'll be done, something like that. Andrew helped me get set up. I'm used to the old Bumblebee 3D printer, and I'm going to have to take a class or something because I had no idea what I was doing. But thankfully Andrew was here to help me out. But they're printing it's a burner event for Burning Man. It's like a local burner event. They'll do that and then cart it around the world, whatever. But it's a clear unicorn that they're doing. With the horn, they've got electrical wiring going through it, and the horn's going to have LEDs, so they're going to program it with all kinds of cool LED effects. So it'll be this like strobe light, glowing, colorful unicorn by the time it's over with. There's the wand it's going to have. and they've got tracks throughout it. So you can go, if you want to get involved in that, it's just a maker project. It's wethebuilders.com. You can go and grab one, download it, print it. And if you throw it in the 3D printer channel, maybe, if a bunch of us want to do that, we could save on shipping. They recommend that. Get together, print them all, label them, put them in a box, ship it all together, so you're not shipping individual pieces and wasting gas and everything. So that's that. And then I've also been toying around with AI image and art generators. I've just been using like an app and just pressing buttons. I'm not programming or anything like that. But I am photoshopping afterwards. And I consulted ChatGPT-3 to help me phrase the text prompt to get better results. So now I've gotten into, I found a print-on-demand supplier where I can upload my designs. And this is not one of them, but I'm starting to make my own Hawaiian shirts using AI art. So here's one of the designs right there. So that was AI generated. So I've now got to the point where I'm actually making the shirt itself. Maybe I'll get there, and I guess I'm not even designing them, the robot's doing it, but I'll start connecting the dots.
The 3D printing stuff?
Yeah.
Are each of those cubes like numbered in a matrix so they know where it goes? How do they put it together?
Exactly. It exactly is. So it'll have a part number, and you just include the part number. You take a picture, you take the dimensions after it's printed to make sure it's right. You record that online. They've got a little dashboard. So you take an image, record the final print dimensions, make sure it's good, and the part number, and then you include the part number when you're shipping it with it, so when they get it, they see, oh, that's this part number. So, yep. Any other questions? All right, thanks.
Well, so much for the sign-up sheet. Anybody else? All right, let me take a dive. Let's go for announcements. I didn't have a lot of time to prep before, so I am going to use my trusty cell phone, which all of you can do that, to go to knoxmakers.org and pull up the calendar to see what classes are available. There are many out there. I see a lot are sold out. One that's not sold out is the new members onboarding to Thursday night, right? Yeah, Thursday night. Let's see, what else have we got going on? Scrap metal art. So it's a little bit of welding, and I am just simply amazed how some people can look at these pieces of metal and then see a deer, or see a giraffe, or see a dragonfly. It just, wow, it amazes me. But they're beautiful things that come out of that class. Then you have Intro to TIG Welding. That's a really popular one as well. Build a custom keyboard. I don't know. I'm looking to see if Ray is here. If you can still sign up for that class, as it's a multi-week class. And I'm not going to bore you anymore with me reading the webpage, because you can all do that yourselves. knoxmakers.org, go to events, and you get the calendar. That's all I have. Is there anybody else who has an announcement? Okay. We are an all-volunteer organization here, so Mama doesn't work here. We take out our trash. Can I get a volunteer to take out the trash? All right, Rob, you got it. And then I don't know if the HVAC filters need to be changed, but can somebody check that out? I see a hand in the way in the back there. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you so much. And now it's time to get in the shop and let's make something, right? Yeah.